Hey guys, this is the Riftbreaker, a game by EXOR Studios that's being developed for PC and will be coming to consoles later on. It's currently targeting a 2020 release date, but the guys at EXOR were kind enough to provide me an alpha build for coverage and to play around with, and this is the first time I've ever been given access to a game before its release, so it's a pretty big deal for me. So, full disclosure, I've been following the game's development through their Discord and their live streams, and I've been sending bug reports, suggestions, and stuff like that. I really liked their previous game called X-Morph Defense, and I've actually uploaded a video where I talk about it a bit yesterday, so make sure to check that out. As always, you can follow the link in the video description down below or at the end of this video. I'll be streaming this game pretty soon, so make sure to follow me on Twitter, Mixer, and Twitch if you want to check that out, and don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy the content. So, what is the Riftbreaker all about? Well, there's a lot going on with this game. There's some RTS elements, since there's resource gathering and base building, but you do all that via a mech that you can upgrade with new weapons, skills, and passive abilities. So there are some action or shooter elements to it as well. During the campaign mode, you'll be tasked with colonizing this planet, which means setting up bases to fight off attacks of the local population, which, as far as I can tell, are these nasty Starship Trooper style bugs, which is of course really cool. Right now, the build I have access to only has survival mode and only one biome available, so keep that in mind as you watch the video. In survival mode, you have to stay alive and keep the base up for 1 hour while defending against increasingly large waves of enemies, which start off pretty small but can get incredibly massive over time. The number of enemies on screen can remind some of you of They Are Billions if you happen to know that game, but I think the graphics here are a step above, so let's talk about that for a second. There's a day-night cycle, and Riftbreaker really pops at night. There's a lot of shiny crystals and bioluminescent plants, and the light in this game works really well. The way it filters through the trees and the grass, the shadows, everything looks really good, as you can see. And there's also a lot of destructibility and particle effects, which are also present in X-Morph. As I said earlier, there will be different biomes in the game, so it's probably safe to say that there will be plenty of variety and scenarios to play around with. All of this means that blowing stuff up looks incredible, and that's pretty good since blowing things up is something that you'll be doing a lot of in this game. There's a wide variety of weapons that you gain access to. There's a sword which deals a lot of damage in a wide arc up close. There's shotguns, rifles, plasma guns, landmines, rocket launchers, railguns, and even nukes. And since you can equip 3 weapons in each arm, you can dual wield whatever you want and get some pretty OP combinations going on. Each weapon also feels pretty different and seems to fit a different purpose. The burst rifle seems to do a lot of damage to the bigger, more heavily armored beasts, while others like the flamethrower are better suited for hordes of smaller enemies. So far, my favorite weapons are both of these and the shotguns, which are just great at destroying anything at close range. The nuke is also incredibly powerful, but it's harder to research, so I haven't had much time with it outside the sandbox mode, which is like a freestyle game mode where you can choose when to engage with the enemies instead of them having attack you. Adding to this weapon variety, there's also passive and active skills that you can research and upgrade your mech with, ranging from stuff like health regeneration and faster movement to Matrix style bullet time and explosive charges. But as I said earlier, there's a lot of stuff going on in this game, so there's also multiple structures that you can build in your base to even the odds against the local population. As you construct your mining stations, your factories, research stations, and solar panels, there's also walls and defensive towers that you absolutely must build if you want to have any chance of surviving. The building here works really well, and it's super easy to build what you want with little to no effort. You start off building a basic headquarters and mining stations to get resources, which you'll need to build more and more complex and demanding structures needed for researching the upgrades for your mech and your base. Your basic line of defense are simple walls that you can stack to be as thick as you can afford, and the towers that will automatically fire at enemy threats. These can be simple towers that fire at single targets, or you can research artillery, flame, or even railgun towers. Almost everything you build requires energy, and here you're constrained by the day-night cycle, as the most efficient means to get energy early on are solar panels, which will only work during the day. But batteries can be used to store energy to last through the night, so you really have to take a lot of stuff into account. There's exploration, there's building, defending against enemy waves, managing resources, and researching upgrades. Though all of this can be pretty daunting, the UI is extremely good at letting you do everything pretty quickly. There's a brush tool that you can use to quickly recycle buildings that comes in really handy when you need to expand your base. I've never been much of an RTS guy, at least not lately. I mean, I played Warcraft, Starcraft, and Age of Empires back in the day, but I never really got into the multiplayer side of those games. What I really like here is that there is really only one unit that you're in control of, that you move around using WASD, so there's no micromanaging stuff. You're not grouping or ungrouping units and moving them around the map, which I think results in a better experience for people like me that enjoy the building aspect of these games, but don't necessarily enjoy the rest of the gameplay associated with traditional RTS games. So, as I mentioned earlier, the game is still currently in development, so I don't know what things are set in stone and which are subject to change. But I must say, the overall look and feel of the game is very good. I've been having tons of fun, and I'm only limited to one game mode, so keep that in mind. If you like what you see so far, I highly recommend you drop in for one of the devs' live streams, which take place on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or my own live streams, which I'll try to announce as early as possible through Twitter, since I can't post anything other than video on YouTube until the channel grows a bit more. So, if you're watching this without subscribing, you know what to do. Hit that big red subscribe button down below, or my logo on the corner of the screen, and leave your comments if there's any game that you'd like me to cover or subject that you'd like to see me talk about. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.